The Peel Project was born in 2013. I was seeing groups of young people aimlessly roaming around in the streets in the evenings, and I wondered if it would be possible to engage and inspire some of them with a photographic project. I'm passionate about photography and narrative and its power to tell stories. So I developed an idea for the project which used keywords to describe particular emotions like anger, hope, joy, love, sadness, and so on. Taking these words, the teenagers would work together to create a series of portraits. And in that process, they would find out more about themselves and each other, who they are rather than just what they look like. I set up weekly sessions with a group of teenagers in our local coffee house, and these became the first of the Peel workshops. As the idea developed, we were able to put a more formal structure around the process, with the teenagers working in pairs, interviewing each other, incorporating poetry to express deeper ideas of their self-identity, which would then provide the stimulus for a photographic portrait. That first part of the process is really important because they're discovering things that they wouldn't normally through social media.
I became involved in the Peel project through my work, so I work at BCS, the Chartered Institute for IT. One of the things that we're starting to break into the space of is looking at the online world and how it impacts young people, but also in my spare time I write poetry and perform poetry, and I used to be a secondary school English teacher as well, so I guess all of those combined made me one of the candidates for this.
I really wanted to get involved because I'm really interested in the kind of relationship between poetry and social media and identity, and how we can use poetry to find out who we really are and kind of get away from our kind of false versions of ourselves. I think poetry is a really great way to look at yourself honestly.
The amount of boys in particular who've come to me and said, I really don't like doing poetry, I can't do poetry, and I don't even know how to do poetry, and I'm not sure that I want to do poetry. By starting the process with interviews and them getting to know each other, the standard of poetry writing that's come from individuals who said that they couldn't write poetry has been extraordinary, and we can see the results around us. They're stripping back, taking away, less is more, and eventually ending up with something that's short and concise, and the results have been brilliant. I'm going to split you into groups of 2.
We had some pre-planned interview questions for the young people to pair up and ask each other, but they could add to those questions as well, based on whatever conversations they were having.
Kind of really get to the root of something about them that's personal.
I had never met the person and I didn't really know anything about them. So when interviewing them, I did feel more comfortable with the person after that I had met them, and I did find some new things that I weren't expecting.
They never really get underneath the surface of the other person that they're talking to through social media. And it's partly because empathy is not an aspect that you can create an app for. They get that when they're talking to each other and asking questions face to face and actually writing things down.
It's so much easier for people to be harsh when just typing through a phone, because it's hard to contemplate that there's someone on the other end of it receiving it. I think that makes it easier for harsh things to be said, and if people take that seriously, it can be kind of very harmful to their self-esteem.
They're discovering things that they wouldn't normally through social media.
It was like really interesting to know the answers. It's just like you would not know that. The questions are really weird as well. Like, it's not something that you'd ask someone out the top of your head. And then the answers all were like really similar, which was interesting as well because they weren't the same questions.
And we have a couple of people who are more experienced in poetry who can then help the teenagers sort of craft them into these poetry shapes.
They've said they've chosen words with certain meanings and stuff. You can be more specific, so if your poem was about like travelling, you can say, my partner said they were really interested in travelling, so I wanted to use lots of pictures, like images of the sea, and you can even put like examples of words you used and stuff, so you don't have to keep it so general that it would apply to every single person. You can have it a bit specific to you. The majority of the people have written in free verse, so it's completely like unrestricted like poetic form or whatever. We haven't prescribed any particular style. It's all just come from them, which is great.
Have you got your poem here with you?
Yeah, there's a copy of it in there.
You got a copy in there. What were the things that sort of jumped out of the poem?
Well, mainly that he his family and going travelling is really important to him.
Yeah.
And then there was a memory of a Portuguese restaurant.
So by doing the project, you become perhaps a little bit vulnerable. There's actually a security in that, being able to express really who we are, not always slipping back to the fake lives and the fake imagery that we so often slip into and portray. So we're going to do a little schedule this morning. We're going to do a quick brainstorm, look at what it is that you want to do. So we need to do George and Tiana first. So what are the key things that are coming out of that?
The changing difference in wealth and After I wrote the poem, I thought about how it was like the poem was kind of about how the world's like kind of a bad place, but he's still happy in it.
The poet did really help because I was struggling on the structure and I was struggling on what form I wanted to do my poem in. So and they had helped me kind of edited the poem a little bit more.
A quiet ringing in my ears, this is home to me.
Wow, that is so good. That's really, really good, isn't it? Once they've done that, they then move on to the next stage, which is looking at different kinds of photography. We're not interested in fashion photography in the way that we know fashion photography. Changing shapes of faces or taking characteristics away from people in the photographs. Everything that we do is natural. We're teaching the teenagers the power of light and dark and how using light and dark can really change the dynamic of an image. By playing with light and bending it to our will, we can create so many different moods and feelings and emotions just by controlling light naturally. And we can do that whether it's daytime or in the evening or even indoors or outdoors, it doesn't really matter.
You could experiment with doing it like that, her face here, and then you get the reflection here, you see? Kind of like, yeah, kind of in water, and then you've got that reflection back.
I think seeing my idea kind of for my photo of Galali, I think seeing it kind of come to life was quite fun, like actually getting to use the projector and do everything that I did.
It was like a cityscape and there was my face in front of it, which I thought was really cool.
I think that was really enjoyable because I had this idea in my head, and because of kind of the facilities here and stuff, we actually managed to make it come to life, and I think it turned out really well. So I think that was my favourite part, seeing it kind of all come together and work really well.
To get this kind of effect, you take multiple images. So you'll take like 3 images of Caleb. And then what we'll do on Photoshop is we'll just layer them up. So there'll be like one image, say one photograph of him. Let's say it's about that, so from about here to here. And then we'll do like another one of him, maybe a little bit closer up, because that's what you were saying to me earlier, wasn't it? Is that you kind of wanted his face to be quite strong and like a big focus of the photograph. And then on Photoshop, we get the 3 images and we layer them on top of each other, and then we can change the opacity of it. So you get things like, see this here is a bit faded compared to this.
Yeah.
That's how you do that. Caleb, explain to me your idea. Like kind of kneel on it?
Yeah, like. Okay. And then look serious. Tell me where you want him, and then I'll run away. Oh yeah, beautiful. It's like they're talking to each other.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like it's his safety net, which is kind of what you were looking for, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, do it. This is beautiful. Right, get him closer to you, Jack. Don't be afraid. He's not real. Okay, hold on to him. go. You got a bit of focus? Yeah, okay, good. Oh, this one go. It's so good. Everything about it is just magic.
Yeah?
I think so.
Okay.
I like everything
Apart from
about
the
it.
colours.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
The Peel project has been carefully developed to match curriculum guidelines so that we can roll it out to 5,000 secondary schools with a step-by-step program structure and worksheets so that schools can run the Peel project independently. I think that the Peel project will grow in the next coming years as we see a growing number of young people with mental health issues.
There is a massive link between social media and self-esteem because you will always have that kind of negative impact fed to you that there is always someone prettier than you, better than you, or like smarter than you on a certain platform. But I think it's important to be taught and to realise that there is so much behind that image, and it is just like a highlight reel of someone's life, and it's not exactly, it's not a true reflection of who they are.
Yeah, I think that needs to be covered more because there's definitely a lot of coverage on encouraging women to be comfortable with themselves. I think there needs to be more for guys as well because of this whole macho thing, and they're supposedly meant to be very independent. They often keep it very, very quiet, and I think it's important for them to realise that whatever their body shape is and everything is okay.